The great hall of records stretched beyond sight, an ocean of glass and hovering archives lit by cold blue lights. Within its heart stood the Galactic Council, 1,000 species woven into the governance of known space. They gathered to decide on a myth, one whispered in ruins and dust, the myth of humanity. For centuries, scattered civilizations spoke of them. Some claimed to have found their bones on forgotten worlds. Others dismissed them as a fable of origin, a bedtime story for primitives who feared their own loneliness. The council had convened to settle it once and for all. At the center of the hall stood the Relic. It floated within a field of soft light, ancient metal etched with runes that none could decode. Its shape was simple yet unsettling, a circular ring with inner teeth as if it once fit into something far larger. Energy readings pulsed faintly from within it like a heartbeat. It was the only known object found sealed inside a vault older than any recorded empire. The inscription on the vault door had read in archaic glyphs, "Humanity's Legacy." The presiding archon of the council rose. His crystalline form reflected the chamber lights as he spoke. Today we conclude the investigation into the myth of humanity. After 10 cycles of research and countless expeditions, no genetic, linguistic, or cultural evidence confirms their existence. The term human belongs to legend, not history. The chamber filled with murmurs of agreement. Representatives of aquatic, silicon, and avian races exchanged signals of satisfaction. The mystery would finally be dismissed as superstition. At the back of the hall stood a single young researcher, a quiet woman named Alara. She was small compared to most present, flesh and bone among beings of crystal, gas, and chitin. She had never been considered remarkable. She was simply one of the unclassified humanoids from the fringe worlds, allowed into the council archives for her talent in deciphering extinct languages. Alara's eyes never left the Relic. She felt it watching her. Every time the council lights dimmed or flickered, its metallic surface seemed to shimmer faintly in response, like it was breathing. The Archon turned to her. "Researcher Alara, you led the linguistic review. Present your final report." Alara walked to the podium, the hem of her gray uniform whispering across the polished floor. Her palms trembled as she activated her projection. Symbols, diagrams, and translated text appeared in the air. The inscriptions found on the Relic and the surrounding vault match no known linguistic family, she began softly. However, embedded patterns suggest recursive syntax consistent with sapient origin. "Translation attempts?" the Archon asked. "One partial phrase only," Alara said. "It repeats 12 times around the inner ring. The phrase reads, 'We were here. Remember us?'" The chamber erupted in laughter. A massive avian delegate clicked his beak. Such sentiment. Definitely mythic. No advanced race leaves behind poetic carvings. They leave data, machines, power sources. This is nothing more than cultural debris. Alara's voice grew quieter. "Except the material of the Relic predates known galactic metallurgy. The isotope ratios suggest it's older than the first council formation. Older than any living starfaring species. Someone made it before any of us." The Archon waved his crystalline hand dismissively. "Coincidence. The galaxy recycles itself. Artifacts drift and distort over time. You may record your findings, but the conclusion remains unchanged. Humanity is fiction." A murmur of approval echoed through the hall. Data screens around the chamber began to update the official record. Case closed. Humanity. Mythological classification confirmed. Alara lowered her gaze. Yet something within her rebelled. Not against science, but against dismissal. She turned once more to the Relic. Its pulse was faster now, faint light circling its surface like slow lightning. She felt her skin tingle. "Archon," she said carefully, "before the classification becomes permanent, I request permission to perform one final verification, a direct biometric scan." Laughter rose again, this time sharper. "A scan? The Relic's systems are inert," hissed a serpentine delegate. "Nothing in it responds to known frequencies." Alara kept her composure. "That's true for all known frequencies, but my analysis suggests the inner structure resonates faintly to organic bioelectrical signatures. It may have been keyed to a specific physiology." The Archon sighed, his crystalline face refracting annoyance. "Your persistence is noted, researcher. Proceed, but let this spectacle mark the end of our patience." Alara stepped toward the containment field. The transparent barrier lowered with a soft hum. For a moment the chamber held its breath. She approached the floating ring and extended her hand. The moment her fingertips brushed the cold metal, the relic flared alive. Light exploded outward in concentric rings. Every delegate shielded their eyes as the chamber drowned in radiance. The relic rotated, aligning with invisible axes, and a low hum filled the air, rhythmic, resonant, like a heartbeat multiplied 1,000-fold. Symbols lit across its surface, cascading in patterns that formed words. A voice, ancient, layered, and calm, spoke through every communication channel simultaneously. Genetic identity confirmed. Lineage human, access restored. Ilara froze. The council chamber erupted into chaos. The Archon rose, shouting commands while hundreds of species shouted overlapping translations of the same impossible phrase. The relic continued to glow, projecting streams of data into the air. Images, schematics, and coordinates filled the chamber. Stars long dead, worlds uncharted, fleets beyond comprehension. The Council's translation systems identified fragments of language that now made perfect sense. Archive entry, Restoration Protocol active last custodian. Detected, descendant of Homo sapiens. Soul origin. The Archon's voice trembled. Shut it down! But the relic was beyond their control. The projection expanded until it enveloped the entire hall. Everyone stood within an illusion of stars, thousands upon thousands. And within that vast space hovered images of colossal vessels, cities on clouds and planets shimmering with oceans of light. The holographic voice spoke again. To those who inherit our dust, we leave remembrance. We were the ones who named the stars and walked among them. We were the children of soul called human. We built, we dreamed, we loved, we fought. When the void swallowed us, we left behind what mattered most, our will to continue. If you hear this, you carry us. You are us. The chamber was silent now. Every delegate stood motionless as the truth wrapped around them like gravity. The myth they mocked was speaking through their own translator arrays. Ilara fell to her knees, tears tracing her cheeks. Her trembling hands glowed faintly where the relic's light touched her skin, symbols crawling upward like golden veins. The Archon approached her cautiously. Researcher, what are you? Ilara lifted her gaze. I don't know. My people were wanderers. We never knew where we came from. But this thing knows me. The relic pulsed again, another voice. This one softer, human in tone, whispered through the air. Welcome home, child. Ilara gasped as a burst of information flowed into her mind. Not words, but memory. She saw a blue planet circling a warm yellow star. She saw people standing beneath open skies, building towers that reached to the heavens. She saw ships leaving orbit, carrying names like Endeavor, Promise, and Return. And she saw their final act, a scattering of encoded seeds launched into the galaxy to ensure their legacy would never die. She understood then. Humanity had not vanished. It had dispersed itself, blending with alien species, adapting, surviving, changing forms until it was unrecognizable. Every species in that chamber carried fragments of human code in their evolution. But she somehow had inherited enough of it intact to awaken the relic. The Archon's composure cracked. This cannot be. If what you say is true, then we all descend from them, Ilara finished quietly. In part or in whole, we are the echo of humanity. The relic shifted again, projecting one last sequence, like a star map. It pointed toward a region long considered forbidden, a void scarred by supernovae. Coordinates marked a system labeled Sol Directive. Return. Then the light faded. The relic went still once more. The council stood in uneasy silence. None dared to move. The Archon finally spoke, his crystalline voice trembling. The myth is no myth. Ilara stood slowly. Around her, delegates whispered in disbelief, some weeping, others trembling in awe. The galaxy they thought they ruled had just been humbled by the echo of its origin. Ilara looked at the dormant relic. They wanted to be remembered, she said softly. Now we do. Word of the event spread faster than any decree. Within days, entire civilizations halted routine operations to analyze the transmission. Scholars, priests, and historians argued endlessly. Armies sent fleets to the void in search of more relics. And for the first time in 10,000 years, the galaxy spoke a single name with reverence: humanity. Ilara became a symbol, though she never asked for it. Species who once mocked her frail flesh now bowed in respect. But she knew the relic's message was not meant to crown her. It was meant to awaken all of them. She spent her remaining days decoding the data fragments the relic released. Within them were blueprints of forgotten technologies, philosophies, and art. One fragment described an ancient phrase, "We endure." Another spoke of compassion, the act of seeing another's pain as one's own, a concept rare in galactic politics but foundational to humanity's survival. Centuries passed. The discovery reshaped the galaxy. New Ali,